Cicero de Officiis, episode 22. Sequemur igitur hoc quidem tempore, et hoc in quaestione potissimum stoicos, non ut interpretes, sed ut solemus e fontibus eorum judicio arbitrioque nostro quantum quoque modo videbitur hauriemus. Cicero says, therefore, igitur, we shall follow, in fact, at this time, and on this question, the Stoics most of all, potissimum. We will not follow them as translators, or as mere translators, but, as is our custom, from their sources, a fontibus eorum, with our own judgment and discretion, as much and in what way will seem fit, we will draw, hauriemus. So now we'll go back through and clean up the translation a little bit to make it more idiomatic in English and point out some of the grammar and interesting stylistic features. He begins with a first plural, future indicative verb in the passive voice, which is from the third conjugation verb, sequor, sequi, which is also deponent. So the present tense is sequimur, like so, with an I. The presence of the E here tells us that it is future. Therefore, igitur, which is normally post-positive, meaning it should be second, we shall follow. Then he has modification. Hoc quidem tempore, et hoc in quaestione. Notice how we have a neuter singular ablative and another neuter singular ablative. Then we have a feminine singular ablative and another feminine singular ablative. And although this is a prepositional phrase, hoc in quaestione, this is not a prepositional phrase. This is simply an ablative of time. But in order to provide balance, Cicero uses quidem in here. We have then in the first phrase, hoc quidem tempore, 6 syllables, and in the second, hoc in quaestione, also 6 syllables. So the inclusion of this particle, or this adverb quidem, allows for a great deal of symmetry, even though grammatically the two phrases are not the same. One is an ablative of time, the other is a prepositional phrase. Therefore, at this time and on this question, we shall follow, most of all, potissimum, and this is a superlative adverb, and then finally we get stoikos in the masculine plural and accusative, which is the object of the verb sequemur. Now this entire sentence, from sequemur through hauriemus, we would call a complex sentence. Remember, there are 3 kinds. There are simple, where there is one verb. There is the compound sentence, where there are 2 or more verbs, but they are related in a paratactic way. And then there is complex, where there is some subordination, and this is called hypotaxis. So here we have a complex sentence. I'll write these in, parataxis and hypotaxis. Here we have a complex sentence. The first verb is sequemur. Then we have non ut interpretes, not as translators or mere translators. And then we have sed, which will introduce the next verb, hauriemus. So these 2 verbs are the pivot points of the entire sentence. And so it looks like it might be a compound sentence at first. Notice as well, in terms of excellent style, that sequemur and hauriemus are placed at opposite ends of the sentence in what we could call the initial position and the terminal position. Notice, moreover, that the verbs in the initial and terminal positions are both first plural, future, and indicative. But the one at the beginning is the first plural, future, indicative passive, sequemur, because it's deponent, but hauriemus is an active verb. So there is a tremendous degree of symmetry, but the tiniest bit of variety, which is pleasing in terms of style. So now to take the second portion of the sentence. But, as is our custom, now we have ut with the indicative, solemus, another first plural. Whenever we have ut plus an indicative, it is showing us a parenthetical idea. In English, we use these little marks to show parentheses. In Latin, you use ut plus an indicative. Notice that at almost the numerical center of the sentence, we have another first plural verb. Of course, this one, as I've said, is parenthetical, subordinate. But as we are accustomed, what will we do? We shall draw, hauriemus. We shall draw a fontibus eorum from their sources. Fontibus masculine plural, and it is an ablative of source, you might say, with this preposition a or x. Eorum is masculine plural and genitive. The antecedent of the pronoun is stoikos. So we will draw from their sources. How will we do so? How will we draw? In two ways. By our judgment and by our discretion, we will draw as much quantum as will seem good, and quomodo, in what way. So both quantum and quomodo are patterning with this third singular, future indicative and passive verb from the second conjugation verb video, a very common verb, of course, video videre. So we will draw from their sources, the sources of the Stoics, using our own judicio and our own arbitrio, both of these neuter singular and ablative of instrument, how much and in what way will seem good. Generally speaking, the structure of a Ciceronian sentence is built upon its verbs. So we have sequemur and hauriemus, the two main verbs, and then we have ut solemus, a subordinate verb, and then for the sake of variety, videbitur here, another subordinate verb in the quantum and quomodo clauses. But notice again the variety. The two main verbs are first plural future, here sequemur and hauriemus. Right in the center we have a first plural present, which is subordinate and parenthetical, and then just to heighten the variety and draw our attention to the uniformity of these verbs, we have a third singular right here. And here is an artist's representation of what the founder of Stoicism may have looked like, Zeno of Citium. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that free lesson. Please like and subscribe, hit the bell. You can also become a patron at patreon.com/LatinPerDiem. And if you really loved it, you can leave a tip right here as a super fan. Thank you so much.